So thanks, Sally. So Tito Mboweni has attempted a difficult balance in his budget speech today. Billions for vaccines, billions more to create jobs, an increase for social grants and a drop in corporate income tax in the pipeline. Is it enough to get business confidence up and foreign investors keen? Well, we're joined now by Frank Blackmore, senior economist and financial risk director at KPMG. Frank, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. I mean, often when we look at a budget, we always try and assess balance, right? And you kind of saw it with this budget this afternoon. On the one hand, you've got some relief with tax. On the other hand, social grants increase, but get this, not at the inflation rate. I'm wondering if that balance element really worked for you here.
Let me just take you back a few hours when we were speaking about this being the most difficult budget that the minister will present probably since liberal democracy came into being. And in that light, I think he has done pretty well to create a balanced budget. As you say, although social grants have increased, it was a very marginal increase, but still an increase. And I think we can see that together with the other initiatives that are taking place in this regard, specifically in order to sort of stem the negative effects of the pandemic. In other words, the relief funds as well as the unemployment benefits that have been extended for another 3 months. So I think we should look at all of that together if we're taking a look at social grants. But as you said, also the corporate tax decreased, although that's not on the cards for this year or even next. It's only coming in, I think, in 2023. It provides the right signal to global investors. And then another part of the speech, I know the minister referred to the investment sort of drive that government has been running for the last couple of months, if not years, and that is sure to assist in a more positive image of the corporate environment within South Africa.
And it's interesting you talk about the corporate environment because ahead of this budget speech you had business saying if this environment is not investor friendly, you're not going to get investment, no business activity, your tax revenue generation will stay the way it is. I'm wondering whether indeed this was inspiring on the investor front over and above that 1% decrease on corporate tax.
I think it was. There were a lot of things in the budget that would also appeal, I think, to corporates. There was a strong emphasis on infrastructure as well as governance. Now, these are not fixed plans. I think a lot of critics have said, well, we needed to be a lot further down this road a lot earlier. But I think there's still good signs that these things are being looked at. And we know that the governance environment, as well as even the operation and efficiency of your government services, adds a lot to the corporate environment as sort of secondary points that can attract or detract from investment in the country. So I think there was a lot of positive influences, both for the man in the street as well as for international, I'd say, investors as well as corporates, to sort of lean on in that regard.
Frank, looking at Operation Vulindlela, which he mentioned today, it's not the first time we've heard about it. Of course, this is the a structural reform plan. I think essentially to make it a lot easier, you know, it translates to clearing the way. Did you hear more encouragement, more signs that he's suggesting business is going to be a lot easier going forward in South Africa?
We didn't get too much, I suppose, along that line, specifically in the budget. But we know that moving in the SONA, we had a lot more, I think, detail around this project for Vulindlela. I think what we got in the budget speech, as well as in the documents, is that obviously some money had been set aside, mostly for projects on student housing. These will create, obviously, temporary jobs in the construction industry, and that is part of the larger Vulindlela project. I think what the public will expect or would want is more transparency around what other initiatives are going to happen. Those weren't mentioned specifically in this budget, although the tone of the budget was largely, as you said, getting rid of red tape, making things a little bit easier, and trying to create a more efficient use of the finances that we do have as a country.